ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Let's Play Warframe Grandpa Edition, Episode 5. I'm your host of the most, as always, Francois878, and today's episode is going to focus around the new set of Grineer weapons introduced in Update 19, known as, I'm going to be calling them the Kuva weapons, because they're used by Kuva Grineer troops, so I feel like that's sort of an appropriate moniker. That is, of course, the primary flak cannon, the Tsar, the flintlock pistols, known as the Twin Roga, and, of course, the Keshig Halberd. Now, I know these weapons are still fairly new, and the Grandpa Edition is supposed to be focused on older content that I haven't covered, but at this point these weapons are a couple of weeks old, and I feel like doing individual episodes wouldn't be necessarily the best idea, so I'm lumping them together. We're going to talk about all three. I'm going to show you guys some potential builds for all three weapons in this video, just to kind of give you guys an idea of interesting ways to mod this gear. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the Tsar. It is it's the most fun I've had with an explosive weapon in this game ever. The Tsar is an absolutely fantastic explosive cluster bomber, and it really honestly has ruined explosive weapons for me. I can't go back to using the Penta or the Tonkor, not after using the Tsar. Basically, the Tsar has two fire modes. It has Cannon and Barrage. Cannon will fire a grenade rocket sort of thing. It technically has... it's affected by gravity, so it's kind of more of a... honestly, I think it's more of a grenade, but it also kind of splits off like a cluster bomb would. Doesn't matter. You fire your first rocket, it hits something, it explodes, and multiple smaller rockets will come out and pepper the area with smaller explosions. It is so much fun to use. The Tsar is the definition of room clearing, of group killing. It is a hell of a lot of fun to use. But that's not the main draw. It is the main draw for the Tsar, but what the Tsar also has going for it is a secondary fire mode known as Barrage. This basically turns the Tsar into a blunderbuss shotgun, a very short-range shotgun that works like any other shotgun you would expect. This is good because most explosive weapons, with the exception of the Tonkor, will end up killing you more times than than you'd like, which is why I'm using Rhino Prime. Iron Skin helps with that. But the Tsar allows you to function in both tight corridors and larger rooms, because you have the cannon mode and the barrage mode. You can go in between to allow you to function more effectively than you would be taking other explosive weapons. Now, that is the primary. It is it is glorious. I love it. I absolutely love it. The secondary is the Twin Raga. It is a pair of flintlock shotguns, if you can believe that. They're not the most effective secondaries. There are definitely secondaries that I enjoy a lot more. However, they are a lot of fun, and they kind of bring a little bit of a different flavor to the secondaries, and that's always a lot of fun. It's always a little different than taking the Lex Prime or the Murloc on every single mission with you. Now we're going to take a look at some builds here real quick before I get into anything else about the weapons. The Tsar, a pretty basic build, heavy caliber, serration, split chamber for your damage. Firestorm increases the range of your explosives. This is essential. It makes the initial bomb and the cluster bombs afterwards hit everything. And then for the last 4 mods, I went all dual stat mods for those to increase my status chance. The Twin Roga build is right here. Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent, again, standard damage build. Quick Draw to help with the Twin Roga's 2 bullet magazine. And as far as the rest of the last 4 mods, I went with a basic 2 90% elemental damage mods, 2 60% elemental damage, 60% status chance, just to kind of buff up that status chance a little bit for the Twin Roga. We have the Keshig here. Shimmering Blight is an excellent stats. It fits in the Keshig by default. Primed Pressure Point, Primed Fury on there, again, for damage and attack speed. Dispatch Overdrive is actually one of the new melee weapon mods that were just introduced. It allows you to get your movement speed up whenever you channel kill an enemy. It's a lot of fun to use. You can put something else in there, Reach, Buzzkill, something to increase your damage. Life Strike for that life regen, and for the 4 elemental mods, again, I went 2 dual stat, 60% elemental damage, 60% status chance, and 2 90% elemental damage mods, just to kind of balance out the Keshig's status chance and damage a little bit. Now, what I was saying about the Twin Roga is that they they have a very small magazine size, only 2 rounds. Like I said, they're flintlocks, so that makes a lot of sense. But they hit like a damn truck. Let me tell you what, these pistols are insane. They also have pretty solid range for being shotgun pistols, quite honestly. They're not great at range, but they have a surprising amount of range compared to other shotguns, both primary and secondary. Now, the last melee, the last weapon is the melee weapon, the Keshig, and I absolutely love Hellbirds. I have always loved Hellbirds since since I started playing video games. One of my first, video game experiences was an RPG, and one of the characters had a Hellbird. I was like, oh, that guy's so cool. And I know that's super fucking lame, but the Keshig finally kind of fulfills that dream of having a proper Hellbird polearm in this game. And it is, the Keshig is a really solid melee weapon. It's not, I wouldn't say it was top tier, but it will slice through level 40s with the proper build like it's nothing. Like, it's absolutely nothing. And you just look cool doing it too. Sometimes it's about that fashion frame, folks. Sometimes. But the Keshig is the highest, the hardest hitting polearm of any polearm we have in game right now, with a base damage of, I believe, 105. So it's definitely a solid weapon. The problem with the Keshig is it doesn't really have a status chance or crit chance that makes it wildly popular for working either of those builds. It's like the Tiburon in that it does a lot of damage, but you can't really build anything else around it. It's just a lot of damage, unfortunately. But it is strong enough to get you through at least up to endgame content, or what DE considers endgame content, which is sorties and higher level nightmare missions and whatnot. So and Kuva flood missions. But the Keshig is just a really solid weapon, and very mid-tier solid weapon, and it looks amazing. All of the design choices for this gear is absolutely incredible. I think it fits the overall Kuva look with the new Grenier and the Kuva Fortress, and I think that it really, the set works. There's been sets in the past with weapons that I don't think they've honestly worked. I don't think it makes sense to have a Soma in dual pistols. That's a totally different video, though. But these are really fun weapons to use, and they're also solid performers. So, but that's going to be about it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Let me know in the comment section what you think of these weapons. If you love them, if you hate them, if you absolutely want to do nothing, if you want to have absolutely nothing to do with them, that is absolutely stuff I want to hear. But let me know. I also have another episode of the Grandpa Edition coming up in the pipeline. I know that I haven't done an episode of Grandpa Edition in a long time, but I'm bringing it back, so look out for that, guys. Until next time, folks, I've been your host of the most, as always, Francois878, signing off.